5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're old, groaning like a geezer.
I am mildly embarrassed because I started running the intro to Aaron Live and I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. So then I was like panicking going, wait a minute, did I even record an intro for this episode? And I remembered, yes, I did. So quick switch and we're all fine. So, nobody's perfect, especially me. Okay. So this is the episode. Let's be honest. This is the episode we've all been waiting for. Where we get to ink each other's work and hopefully either create something really wonderful and not something disastrous. But let's just see how it goes. Let me bring in someone who's never a disaster. It's David Williams.
What do you mean we?
Wait, who you calling we, Kimasabi?
Yeah, I'm not anxious to ink this.
Oh, well, okay, so you're going to be the disaster portion of the show, is that what you're saying?
No, Dan is, but I'm still not anxious.
Here's a guy he's not a disaster, but he's a wrecking ball waiting to happen. It's Gary Martin.
Aaron, to change the subject,
yeah,
I'm sure you know that a life vest protects you from drowning.
Yes.
A bulletproof vest protects you from getting shot,
mm-hmm.
and a sweater vest protects you from pretty girls.
Is that was my problem? You see, if I'd lost the sweater vest and the bow tie in high school, maybe been a little bit more successful. Now, Gary, you were around a little bit before me, so
I was thinking I may have the longest career out of anyone in CG, because I think I predate Baron.
On game days, did you guys have to dress up?
We had to wear a tie.
Did you ever wear a sweater vest when you dressed up for the game? Okay.
No.
All right.
We didn't have to wear a suit jacket, but we did have to wear a tie.
Okay, well, here's a guy that I don't think has ever dressed up in his life, maybe not even on his wedding. It's Dan Lawless.
Oh, I did. Well, I'm just learning. So I'm just figuring something out right now. Like, why has my wife always been buying me sweater vests? That's all I wear. And it's like, I'm just starting to figure this out now. Like, wait a minute.
No,
she said it looks good. That looks good. Go out to that party. Wear this.
Yeah.
And
Vest boy is off the market.
That's right. Wow. That's like that's more powerful than a wedding ring is the sweater vest.
Could she have been, tricking me?
It could be. I actually have one, but it's like one that buttons up. So does that count?
Oh, that's even worse.
But it's funny thing now that I'm in a more mature gentleman, I like look at that and go, hey, this looks pretty good. And I wouldn't have been caught dead in that as a young man. But now I'm like, hey, put a little nice shirt underneath there and put the old.
Yeah, see, Aaron, I even like slip-on Skechers.
Wow. Okay.
That sounds great.
Well, but
so you don't have to bend over to put your shoes on.
Well, there's something to be said for that, because even as a kid, one of the fads when I was in high school was everybody wore high tops and nobody tied their shoelaces, right? Because it was just a pain in the butt to tie. So you'd pull the high tops on and just walk around with these clumpy high tops on that weren't tied. I've never liked tying my
I
shoes.
never understood that because you couldn't get away.
Well, right, but okay, well that's you though, because you're constantly putting yourself in situations where you need to get away quickly.
Yeah, you have to, you have to think about your footwear before you get into hijinks.
Yes, exactly. Now I always tied them up before the game. I always practiced and played with them. But walking around
campus,
nope. And that wasn't the
right equipment for the job.
All righty. So let's see who's here. Look at this. Stealth X5 for $10, not his usual $2, but he's throwing out $10 to say hello. Thank you, Stealth. Appreciate it.
That's a big hello.
You know what it is. He probably just realized that he shorted me $10 on the shipping. He just bought some artwork from me.
Well, that still doesn't cover it because
I know, because
after Aaron gets his piece, that's probably like 50 cents.
Yeah, that's right. But it's the thought that counts. And I did already ship it out to him. I thought, you know what, Stealth's bought some original stuff from before. I'm not going to be a baby about a few bucks on shipping. So I just
I think Ethan was onto something just to skip super chats and just PayPal us money.
Just send us cash, folks.
Yeah, just send us cash, and you just like, by the way, I just sent you $10, and here's my comment.
Yeah.
I think Katie did something today where she set it up through Ko-Fi that people can get, and that you get all the money through that, and she still gets she was reading. I know she was reading comments off of Ko-Fi. I don't know. I have to ask her about it more. But
I was going to say that sounds very technically beyond me, but maybe it's not that difficult. Okay, let's see who's here. I Stole Aaron's Hair is here, and look at that, Gary. Do you see that little? Icon there? That little avatar?
Is that you?
That is me, inked by you from the pages of Sludge.
I don't remember that image.
I was the newspaper editor. And Shelley was the reporter.
Yeah, and you were talking to her, and things are getting kind of, intimate between you two. And I come
and you walked in. With your coffee, going, "What are you guys talking about?" Yep. Very funny stuff. Look forward to seeing you all ink. Aaron, they haven't announced you yet, but you're on the floor plan for SummerCon. They have announced me actually. Now I am on the website, so I am officially a guest. So there you go. Past Master Dan is here. Repairman Jack. N2 Paints is joining us. John without an H. Sean Willits. He says, always a great day when it's a Graybeard's day. I think that's true. James says, SummerCon finally put you on their website. There you go, Aaron. But I can only make the show on Sunday this year, so I'll see you then. Don't forget the What the and Spider-Man backup pages. I've got some What The's, which I already put aside. I don't think I have any Spider-Man backup pages left.
Well, coming to see you on Sunday is a good move because SummerCon on Sunday is, it's dead.
Yeah, and I need money. So prices may be dropping at that point.
That's true, yeah. Prices slashed.
I Stole Aaron's Hair says, working on my portfolio for you to review at SummerCon, Aaron. Oh, boy.
Do it on Sunday.
Should I be nice or brutal, Gary?
Well, it depends on how much money he spends on you beforehand.
Before you look at the portfolio.
You lessen the blow, is that it?
Yep.
I don't have anything to pay. I don't have anything to buy.
Yeah, I mean, if he buys a bunch of your, he buys one of your covers, and then he says, "Oh, can you review my portfolio?" And you say, "Get this garbage out of here."
That's right. That's right. Once I've got his money, it's like I don't have to be nice, right? Sean Willett says, will you be at SDCC this year, Aaron? Yes, booth 4706. Any other Graybeard's? Not that I'm aware of. I just saw the tickets are shipping out soon, hoping I can make it again this year. Well, if you do, please stop by and say hey. Randy Howell's here all the way from Canada. Lone Star Viper, Skull Nasher. He says it's going to be a shame to see all that artwork ruined.
Yeah, I saw the title. It said inking demonstration. I'm like, what? I'm going to show you how to demonstrate.
That doesn't mean it's a good demonstration. It just means
what you don't do
he saw right
Winning.
through our ruse that he hit the nail there. That this is we pretend like this is going to be informative and artistic, but
we'll see.
Never ever do this.
Yeah. Don't try this at home, folks. Marcus Killer Group, purveyor of all things pop culture knowledge, is here. Robert the Bruce Glitch is here from across the pond. Headless Bourgeoisie. Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. There's Dan Lawless in the chat. Kellraiser is here. He says, I'm on the way from work, but listening on the radio. We are so big, we're on the radio. Isn't that amazing?
You mean actual, like your car radio?
He's probably feeding it through his phone or whatever.
Okay. This is WXLR. We got the Graybeard'S.
Your morning, your commute home. We will.
Yeah, you just wait. Someday.
The traffic report from David Williams.
Bloody Drake is here. John Smith. I assume that's the John Smith from Southern California that I know well. Let's see here. Stealth X5 says, was I short? Yeah. See, I sent Stealth this thing, and I said the artwork's $125 plus $15 shipping. Gary, what's the math? 125 plus 15 is
40.
$140. Stealth sent me 100.
Is actually a deal. You're not charging him for labor. You're not charging him for supplies.
Yeah.
You're not charging him for schlepping it to the post office.
So he sent me 130, which, but I was like, Stealth's a good guy. He's bought artwork from me before.
Well, see, okay, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
If he's a return customer, then you cut him some slack.
Yeah, exactly. So Iodine 74 is here. She says, I listen to my radio all the time. Well, I don't know that Iodine 74. I don't know why I said she. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to misgender anybody. I listen to my radio all the time. Wednesday night is usually pizza night for us, so I listen when I go pick it up. Well, I can tell you right now, Iodine 74 is a dude because no chick is going to pick up the pizza for her family. So, but whenever I see Iodine, I think of Little Iodine, which is the little. Isn't that was that a Gold Key or a Harvey character or something? Little Iodine.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, all right. Well, whatever.
Hey, you guys, you know what? I think I found a way to save a little bit on shipping. I bought a bunch of these 11 by 17 boxes, and
well, see, that's where you fail right there. You bought them.
They weren't that expensive, but they're really light, and you put the drawing in there with just a little bit of packing powder, pellets, whatever, and or whatever newspaper.
Okay, so
something really light.
Where do you get the packing material? You have to buy it, right?
I just get it from Amazon. Whenever something comes in the mail, I just save it.
Save it.
So I got some bubble wrap and things like that. Just throw some paper.
Always save cardboard. Always.
I've done this before where I built a little.
How much were the boxes?
Within the box, just with scrapped cardboard, tape it together to create it so it doesn't bounce around.
Like a tent.
How much were the boxes?
You take your drawing to the bottom of the box too. I cover it. I put it in plastic in a trash bag or something, and it's protected. But ultimately, it's really light.
Dan, headline news: Dan ships his original art in used trash bags.
How much are the boxes, Dan?
I got to take a look again, but it's not that much.
Oh boy! See, now I'm in trouble. Iodine 70. What's that, David?
I said that doesn't help. I need a price.
Iodine 74 says, and with that, Aaron Lopresti is no longer my favorite personality in CG. Oh,
what'd you do?
Sorry. I said she at first, then I caught myself and said, well, I don't know if Iodine.
Well, you did. Yeah, you did correct yourself.
Because, like I said, whenever I see Iodine 74, I think of Little Iodine, which it's been confirmed that is a Dell character. And but then he said that he was named after some song from a group called Jawbox, which I'm unfamiliar with. If they didn't play in the 70s, I don't know who they are. Stealth X5 says, fixed, and here's $2. LOL. Well, I wasn't saying that to get you to send me more money, Stealth, but I'll take it. Thank you. Pity Maw is here, who I know is a woman, I think. And then there we go. Okay, so all right. That covers everybody in the
Like,
chat for the moment.
You get like a pack of 50 for $80. So what is that? A couple bucks a box, you know?
Well, it's less. It's $1.
Did you get
40?
Rachel Brinkley and John?
Oh, there's John. Well, no, I got John without an H. There's Rachel Brinkley. Hello, Rachel. Thanks for joining us. Pitty Moss says, "Lol, yes, all woman here."
All woman here.
Look
Okay,
out.
yeah. You realize 99% of the people watching the show are dudes.
That's right. But we do have.
No, I'm
we
talking
do
about
have,
Kitty Mall. When you say you're all woman, now they're all intrigued. That's my
yeah.
point.
Well, okay, but I think it's nice that we actually do have some pretty regular women in this chat
I agree.
that show up and support us, and we appreciate it.
Well,
Rachel Brinkley says good. Rachel Brinkley says good thing that Gary's on the ball. Yeah, that is so rare that I'm was stunned.
That's a given, Rachel. That's a given.
that's why Gary's here. He's to read a chat and to bring in the ladies.
Okay.
Stay away from King Money. Cut money. Stay away from him.
G Money, that's right. David's already given us the inside scoop on Gary. So there's Toxic Dust 13 is here as well. Sequential Treasure says 50 boxes for $50 is $1.60 a box. No, it isn't. 50 boxes for $50 is $1 a box. Oh my gosh.
She says for $80.
Well, it says, oh, okay. Well, he fixed it now that I've corrected him, and he's embarrassed himself. He fixed it.
Aaron, it was always $80.
Look
What do you
right
mean
up.
you fixed
No,
it?
look at, there it is, Gary. It's on the screen. Look what it says right there.
Okay, I stand. Okay.
Now, don't you guys have to
I
buy?
apologize, Aaron. You're
Once
right.
again, Gary not on the ball.
Yeah, I was in that rare case. I was not on the ball.
Now, you guys, don't you have to buy your packing material too, though?
No.
Yes.
What do you do?
No, wait a minute. I buy foam core, 1/4-inch foam core, and because you cannot bend it.
That's not cheap.
It's super lightweight.
You chumps. You just order packaging material. Like are you a stamps.com subscriber? I know you are, Aaron, right?
Yes. Yes, I am.
You can order USPS shipping supplies through them for free.
Yeah, but
And
art.
yes, and if you order, if you're, it's not a membership. What do you call it when you have an account with FedEx? You can get their shipping supplies for free.
Now that I do know, and that's how I used to ship like pages. I put them in the FedEx boxes and things like that. But when I ship art, I like to pack it really tight.
The thing about these boxes, though, they're really light, and it's the weight that really knocks down the price.
Cardboard is cardboard, Dan.
Well, I don't know.
You're thinking it's extra light because there's air in between the layers.
And it's not, and also it doesn't. You can't bend it. This is not. You can't bend this.
Okay, now wait a minute. How big is that box?
It's about 2 inches, 2.5 inches, 11 by 17.
So if you flatten it, it's smaller, and so the charge is less.
I don't know if that's true. All I can say is when I started using these boxes, my prices went down. I was like, cost me like $20 a cent. Shit.
Well, no, you know what? I'm going to look into that because the foam core is expensive.
Yeah,
but it's so light. It's so lightweight that it like you make up for it by cheaper postage. But
exactly. Yeah,
but it doesn't bend. It's incredible. So that's why I use it. But those boxes might work really well too, as long as they don't get crushed.
Trust me,
Aaron,
they won't get crushed.
Clear this up and read the latest chat.
Flady1 says, if you want to learn about fast, secure shipping, Gary is the best shipper on CG. I got my art auction in like 2 days. Well, no, wait a minute. He may be the fastest, but is he the best packager? David sends his artwork out with like chipboard. I mean, it's like crazy.
Aaron.
Yes.
I was there when David was packaging that artwork.
Are you taking credit?
He just tossed the original in a box and was about to seal it. I go, wait, hold on. You're not going to put it in a plastic bag. You're not going to put any extra cardboard in it. And so he pulled it out and did all that.
Okay. All right. David.
But he just literally threw it in the box with no bag on it or anything. And I was like, okay, David.
Shut your snitch ass up.
Now the truth. The truth comes out. All right. Okay, let's do a little round of show and tell. Then let's get inking so Gary can critique all of us. It'll be quite fun. David, I know you got stuff you want to share.
Yeah. Check Facebook, Twitter for some of the. No, I'm just kidding. Hold on. Yeah. Bam. Okay, these are some pieces that I did that are going out tomorrow. I just finished this, and guess what? Gary inked this thumb.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You went out what? You went out to get lunch, and you said, "Don't just sit there, ink this." And I started inking, and then he comes back in the room. And, what are you doing? He's like, "Stop!"
And this sold. This is going out to Rand Arrington tomorrow, and I got a story to tell. When I was on Ethan's show, the theme was X-Men, and I started this Wolverine, and I tore it in half.
Why?
You
it was crazy.
So cool.
You like
garbage.
No, what's wrong with it?
Shut up.
So see that added value to it.
Oh,
yeah, there you go. And so I said, I'll put this in there if the auction goes up to like 300, and it went up to 300. So the guy's getting this torn up piece of and then Maul.
No, actually, seriously, explain to me why that Wolverine is not great.
Yeah, why don't you like that Wolverine?
I don't have to explain a damn thing.
Okay,
Right.
well, the thing is, that original artwork now has a story. It's like when Kelsey lit his on fire. It's like,
yeah.
Now you've got a story with the artwork. So,
well, that guy has a story. I don't ever want to see it again. But the other thing, I still have these. Gatchaman. This one, I still need to mail this one out. This belongs to somebody, and I wish they would reach out so I could.
But you don't know who.
Yeah, I'm still. And
Me,
this
I
is
keep
available.
telling you, David. Me, it belongs to me.
Yeah. Robin. This, I think this belongs to somebody. This one doesn't. This one belongs to somebody, and this one belongs to somebody.
Oh my gosh, get that
how
money.
do you keep getting money from people and not know who sent it to you?
And dude, it was. Hey, some of these were around during my lowest point, so and they were not directed at me. So
I apologize. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And Batman and Robin is still available, but this is what I actually want to put out there for everybody: is that.
Hang on, wait 1 second. Rand Arrington said, if they don't reach out to you soon, David, I'll buy that rune.
Okay.
There's a double sale.
Yeah, write that down. Rand Arrington. He's
yeah.
Rand Arrington, David.
Yeah. Rand and we talk every day. So.
Okay.
So this is a bittersweet where I'm letting go of Truth, Justice, and American Way art, and how I'm releasing
Gary's
it.
Weeping.
It's bitter.
How I'm releasing it though is in these 3 stacks, and in these 3 stacks is it has pencil and ink artwork, it has finished pencil pages. It has concept art. It has roughs, and each stack is about 25, drawings, or maybe a little more. And for each one, and it's a variety. So it's not just here's all of the Truth art, or here's all the American Way art, and here's all the. It's not like that. So you get a mix if you're willing to buy it. And what I'm asking for it is like 500 for each stack.
Could you flip through one of the stacks for us?
Yes, I will momentarily. But I was going to say it's 500 for each stack. But if you want to buy it all, I'll sell it all for $1,000.
That is a steal.
That's like
So-
75 pieces of artwork.
75 pieces of artwork. So here's like the very first drawing I did of American Way, or one of them, and that's the final. And then you'll get like, here's the layout, a copy of the layout, and here's the finished cover. Gary has the inked covers if you're interested in buying those from him.
Yeah, I
Correct?
still have all the original ink covers.
Yes. And you'll get like layouts, like I said, of process drawings. Um, and I do all my layouts generally on 11 by 17. That's why they look so rough. And here's, cover concepts that we were going over. For some strange reason, I was told that I didn't draw on this. I didn't do anything. But as you could see, there's a lot of work. And Gary still has a lot of work himself, right?
Yeah, I have all the pages. I sold one page on auction, but I still have all the pages.
So you'll get like process drawings of like backgrounds and stuff. So me figuring out perspective to put in there. And, sometimes I would do, little layouts on smaller pieces of paper just to try to figure out, composition. And like I said, it's like, here's my rough that I would do. And then I would
that was a great
tighten it
cover.
up. I would tighten it up for Gary. I'm not today. I'm not equipped to pencil for an inker. The only person I would trust inking my stuff is
Me?
Gary, because he understands my shorthand.
You mean me?
No. You're totally gonna wreck what I gave you. So and so like there's full like pencil pages of double page spreads and fun storytelling. You could see that
God, there's just a ton of stuff in each.
like even though people or a person was saying, "Oh, I'm not working. I wasn't doing anything," and it's
Yeah, I tell you too, it's interesting when you get the roughs, you kind of see how an artist approaches the drawings and
yes,
how much details in a drawing that when it gets reduced down, sometimes you can't tell it. It's good to see it original size, that sort of thing.
absolutely, and you'll just have a whole bunch of stuff just to see my process, and you'll be closer to what the project was originally supposed to be, and not the abomination that it turned into.
Turned out to be. Stealth, for clarification, no, it's not an auction. Those are, each pile is $500. You can get all three piles for $1,000. Just reach out to David, and that's all you have to do. Doc Brewski says, "Howdy, I'm at work, so I can't hang, but I love you all. No homo." Flatey1 says, "I'll make a Twitter account tomorrow to reach out to you, David, for those pieces from the last auction." Okay, look at that.
Wait, who is this?
Flatey1 said they'll make a Twitter account tomorrow to reach out to you about those pieces you still have available from the last auctions.
Oh, okay, great, awesome. So there you go. Truth, Justice, American Way. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yep, boy, what if it could have been? Anyway, all right. Thank you for that, David. So, Gary, what do we got here?
Oh, Spirit.
Yeah, doing Eisner, huh?
Yeah, this is a recreation that I started yesterday. Here are the pencils, and I hope to have the inks finished by next week. Next couple of days, but you never know. So you see my process for recreation. I pencil it first, and then I put a copy of the original on my drawing table, and then ink it, trying to mimic the inking style of who I'm recreating.
Wow.
Have you started it? Have you got any inks?
I haven't started. No, I've not started the inking yet.
I want to see this because this is so anti-Gary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he inks very loose.
He's really.
really loose. And that's I'm not gonna try to Gary it. I'm gonna try to Eisner it.
And you know, Plug has a lot of influence from.
Oh yeah.
Eisner. You can see it. Oh,
Yes,
this is great.
absolutely. I posted this a couple days ago, I think. Mike Barron he's currently doing a campaign for a Nexus omnibus, but it's only half the issues. So he's planning on doing another omnibus, which will include all the Dark Horse Nexus books, and I inked most of those. And so he asked me if I had any Nexus artwork, and so this will probably be in the second volume of the omnibus, and it is available. I'm just pulled it out for his thing. It is available for sale, and the Eisner piece will be as well after I finish it.
Very nice.
Very cool.
What does that say? Thanks, David. Hope you have fun inking my art. Oh, Dan Lawless. Dan sent a little note.
I'm looking for the message.
That's so cute. Gollum Wolf draws for $10. Thank you, sir. Says, "Hail Graybeards, you may recognize me better as best name I can think of." Oh, okay. He changed his name. You guys have inspired me to do my own art streams. My third stream will be next Tuesday at 7 Central. Much love. Thank you. Well, there you go. Check out. I assume now it's under Golem Wolf Draws.
Artist formerly known as best name I can think of.
That's right. He's like Prince. He's like the artist formerly known as best name I can think of. Very cool. Thank you. So check that out, you guys. There's Bibliobob. Always quality work, all you guys. That's very nice. Thank you. All righty. Dan, let's take a look at this.
All right, I did this drawing on the Kings, and I think it was pretty cool. So I thought I'd show it up here. What's so funny?
You're just like my grandmother. She cooks this meal. We all sit down, we do that blessing, and people are, take a bite. And while they're still chewing, she can't wait for somebody to say something about it. So she says, "Oh, it tastes pretty good, if I do say so myself."
So Dan Lawless now is imitating Gary's grandmother. That's
I don't get it. What are you talking about?
We'll explain it to you after the show.
All right. I'm a little slow, I know. Anyways.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not sure what I said wrong, but I think I said the Phoenix.
What do you think of this drawing, Dan?
I'm still missing it. What am I missing?
No, because you came on and said, this turned out pretty well if I do say so myself. That's what you said.
Oh, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, and so then he's saying his grandmother does that every time she cooks a meal. She goes, this meal is pretty good if I do say so myself.
Oh, I didn't know what I said. Okay.
Okay. We'll have to play it back.
Okay.
Now, you colored this, didn't you?
There's the color.
Bam.
Ooh, nice. Now, did you sell this in the auction after the show, or did you hang on to it?
Yeah, I did.
Excellent.
Where are her gold leggings?
I know everybody. Oh, yeah, you already know about that.
Well,
I got hammered because I forgot her leggings.
No,
hey, you know what, though? The funny
artistic
thing
interpretation.
The funny thing is, though, I actually liked the line work that I did on the legs. And then kind of. And I kind of did. I don't think I wanted to add the other stuff because it kind of ruins it. I don't know. There's something about it I like.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but the kneecap or something looks.
No, it's subtle, but
yeah.
Why does her pubic hair look like that?
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. Here we go.
There goes the PG rating. Oh my.
Like
anyways.
Batch.
Yeah, so that was fun. I was able to sell that.
Wow. Hidden Hand says, "Where's the coin slot?"
Oh my gosh. All right. That's
extra.
Oh my gosh. Well, Dan, I think this is a very good, wholesome drawing until David ruined it.
Yeah, really. Where's your mind at? Get your mind out of the gutter, man.
Yeah.
You did. You drew it.
Look at that.
I drew Barbie doll.
Gary, do you see the conversation going on in the chat right now?
Yep.
Yep. That's what you guys. This is what you guys do. Oh. Oh. And Randy Howell says, with our arms like that, we can easily animate it for a boob shake. Oh my God.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man.
Yeah. Now we all
okay.
want to see that now.
Somebody's got to do that, please. I can't. I don't know how to do that myself.
Do it.
You know, when David and I first started the show a couple of years ago, we talked about, let's do a kids show. It'll be fun. It'll be like Sesame Street, except for art. And look what it's become.
Good, wholesome Christian show.
we're all in our twilight years, and so seeing an animated jiggle, I mean, we look forward to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We're teaching kids how to appreciate women instead of
Art.
indoctrinating them into some bullshit.
All right.
Yeah, like back off, man. I'm an artist.
Okay.
This is art. Female
All right.
figure.
StealthX5 sent me the extra money for shipping. So now I feel bad that I even brought it up, but I'll take it. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I don't feel bad anymore. Jeez,
No, well, it was a short lived. I mean, it felt bad for a couple seconds, and I'm like, oh, it feels pretty good actually.
See, everybody rips into me. Why is she wearing mittens? I didn't define the fingers completely.
Oh my! See, this is what happens, Dan.
It's artistic expression. I'm trying to get a.
Okay, now hold on. There's so much to look at here, and somebody's looking at her fingers.
I like the sort of like half finished hand. I think it looks kind of
like
cool.
an impressionistic hand.
Yeah, I like it. I think it looks cool.
Yeah,
me too.
I didn't feel like it drawn anymore. Fingers are extra.
No, it
You
was
want
a
fingers with that?
choice.
We'll see.
Well,
We'll see that. That's the best
drawing
answer.
He started drawing and it went yada yada yada. You know.
Yeah, that's the best answer when the artist himself says, "I didn't feel like drawing it."
There you go.
Enough
And
said.
I lost
This
interest.
guy has art instruction on YouTube. So
I focused on other areas of the drawing.
Oh, I like it, Dan. Nice work.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
There you go. I don't really have anything because I was like
That's
packing
impossible. Wait. That is impossible for you not to have any art to show. You draw
really.
every freaking day and twice on Sunday.
Okay, Aaron. Aaron just showed us what you drew last night before bed.
Right.
Well, no, I see. Here's what happened. The last 2 nights I've been down at my son's house moving furniture because he just got a new carpet and flooring put in. So I didn't really get a chance to draw. Well, wait a minute. Did I show the?
Oh, wait a minute. I do have something.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I guess I didn't show this. Here we go. I did. Oh, yeah. Okay. Here we go. What I did do is I drew this Wolverine, but then I also colored that Goblin.
Wow.
So, but that was a couple days ago.
They're both cool, man. Especially the Wolverine. I dig that. Like this. I like the 5 o'clock shadow color. You know.
I worked really hard on the colored pencils, Dan, because of your inspiration with colored pencils.
Oh, it's not marker. It looks kind of like marker.
No,
coming out of his neck.
that David. David thinks this neck muscle tendon looks like something else. I don't know what he's talking about.
David, you just ruined that
all
drawing.
over it.
Oh my God.
David, you just ruined that drawing for me. I didn't see that before.
Oh
Now
no,
yeah,
I just
I
saw
know.
it too. I just
Great,
saw it.
thank you.
Oh.
Now I'm going to raise the price on it. So anyway.
Yeah.
Add a few hairs though, you know.
Extra veins.
Wow.
Aaron, just do David's trick. Just tear it in half, and then people will really want it.
You know what? I have got artwork that I just think sucks that I would like to burn, but I can't bring myself to do it because it's art. You know what I mean? And it may be bad art, but I just can't do that. I could never, like, he ripped that. I couldn't do it. I would hide it maybe. It's like when I got, like, someone gave me a bunch of like beat up old comics. I was like, I don't want these. And it was like, I finally burned them in the wood stove years ago, but it was like, I was almost crying when I threw them in there.
Things were that bad that you had to burn comics for heat.
It was a cold winter, Gary. It's a very cold
Lean
winter.
times.
All right, guys, let's bring up what we're doing here and get ready to either make it or break it. Hey, look at that Hulk that David sent me. A lesser man might be intimidated by it. Not me.
So now this is a manly test here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start the bidding at $200.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Now, if we sell any of these pieces, you gotta at least split the money with the guy who penciled it. You know.
Oh, hold on. Rand Arrington is threatening to burn my Bruce Lee illustration. Well, you bought it. You can do whatever you want with it, man.
I guess that's right. Stealth X5 very nicely for $2 says, you all do such great work. Thank you. Pity
Thank
Ma
you.
is on the edge of her seat, Gary. Says, oh boy, this is going to be exciting.
Boy, you are going to be disappointed.
We're going to slowly make black lines on a piece of
But I'm
paper.
guessing that's not the first time you've been disappointed by men.
Stealth X5 says, are they signed by both? Yeah, they will be signed by both of us when we finish them. Sure.
I'm going to scratch Aaron's name out.
Hey now.
I'm going to ink right over it.
Dan's got to erase Aaron's name.
I think it's more me than him.
Oh my gosh. It's more of a layout than it was actually.
Once Dan starts inking, it's his. The penciler no longer matters.
Now, Randy Howell sent $5 Canadian to comment on Dan's drawing of Phoenix. And of course, Gary, being on the ball like he was, completely missed it. Says, hold on. With all that energy pouring out of her hands, it should look hazy. Go, Dan. So he's defending you, Dan.
I can't read everything.
Wait a minute. That's like complimenting me, then slap me in the face.
Hold on. Queen Mickey is saying hi and goodbye like back-to-back
2 weeks
chat.
in a row she's done that.
Yeah.
What do we do? We don't even know what we're doing to offend her.
I know. But she's not so offended she won't come in and say hi, but then she's offended just enough that she won't stay.
Yeah, she's got multiple projects in the works that I cannot talk about.
Ooh.
Wait,
Sequential for $10 says, thanks for the Green Goblin art, Aaron. You made him look like Marty Feldman.
Oh man.
Brilliant.
The one wandering eye.
By the way, who is actually running your show? Oh my gosh. I don't know. That's too much in one, even for $10, Gary. I can't let that slide.
Yep.
Can I?
Yep.
By the way, I want to actually thank Mickey. She sent me some really good marketing advice lately, just for free. Just send me some great ideas, and they're really good ideas. So
Yeah,
she's a little appreciation there for her.
Yeah, she's done that for me too.
Yeah, it's really cool.
She sends me candy. I don't know why.
Wait, you get candy? I just got good advice, marketing advice.
Yeah, we got advice that will help us earn income. She sends you candy.
I don't get Jack Diddley.
I got a rock.
Exactly.
All right, I'm diving into this, man.
All right, I got to switch the camera.
Oh, I'm dripping ink. Already I've made a mess. Gosh darn it. Good thing I eat up here. I had like tons of napkins.
Told you don't mess it up.
I haven't even touched it yet.
Oh, okay.
David already started inking on his.
Yeah, I already started.
Well, Dan's pencils are so dark you can't even tell.
Yeah, you can. You can
So basically, you cheated, but no one's going to know.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. As Gary taught me, do the outline at first, and then.
And do you remember why I said that?
Yeah, so you could get into kind of a rhythm before you start trying to do feathering and stuff.
It's also to establish the line weight, the contour line weight, and so I like to have a contrast between the contour line thickness and the delicate lines inside the figure.
I'm going to do it the way I want to do it.
Wait a minute. Line weights are what?
I like to have a contrast between the thick contour line and the interior feathering lines. It's like Neil Adams is a good example. If you look at his contours, he goes pretty thick. And but you look at his detail work inside the figure, very delicate.
Okay, I got a bunch.
Well, that's how Palmer inked him.
Yes, yes. Dick Giordano did it that way. Who else? But that's just using Neil Adams as an example. There's something about that contrast of a variety of line weights. And that's part of the problem with modern pens is people just will use the same pen to ink the whole thing. And it can get monotonous. People who know what they're doing will beef up their lines and, when you guys ink.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing. And we've had this conversation before about Kevin Nolan, who uses a really kind of thin, dead line weight for his holding lines and does all this kind of like noodly stuff on the inside.
Yeah, but he is also thinking about the color too.
Yeah.
Like if you're inking and you don't know who's going to color it, you don't want to leave it, depth up to the colorist.
Sometimes even if you do know who's coloring it, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, especially if you know.
Now, do you guys do the kneaded eraser thing? Like you kind of go over it with the roller?
I don't, but I know a lot of people that do. In fact, you've been recommending it for a long time.
I think I'm going to try it.
I do that. I don't roll it like you do, but I do pass over it with a kneaded eraser first. I actually haven't done that technique, Dan. I should try it, but I do lightly erase over it first before I start inking.
Yeah, you just said the same thing twice.
And yeah, I should try your technique, Dan. I haven't done it yet, but
one more time.
I do.
That's called filler material. Filler material. You got your material.
You don't smear the pencils while you're inking. You're dragging your hand across it if you do that. And
I'm not touching it. I'm not touching the paper.
Right. But I'm just saying, also, when you've inked the entire piece and you erase over the inks, if you've erased once already, you're not erasing so hard to take ink off the paper and then have to re-ink some of the lines.
Yeah, that's true too. And the thing is, too, rolling it doesn't do anything to disturb the surface too.
Yeah.
This is really interesting because you could look at like even this picture that David drew here and say, oh, that's pretty tight. But when you get in there and start interpreting lines, it's not very tight.
No, it isn't. But everything's there, but there's still room for interpretation.
Right.
A lot of decisions. People don't realize just how many decisions there are on a piece of art. Yeah. Every single stroke, the thickness of that stroke,
yeah, that's why I like inking over tight pencils, so I don't have to make as many decisions.
Right.
I don't have to interpret. I can just, worry about my technique.
What's a good pen to start with?
Well, even when you're like, outlining it like I'm doing right now, you get in there close, and like some of these are double or triple lines. You know,
Yeah.
like, well, which one am I picking here, or do I just make this one big thick line? Or
Right. Torchbearer Studio says, "Huh? That is a cool erasing technique, Dan. Gary, have you ever tried it?"
So what number's thicker? Does it go 0.2? That's smaller, right? Or right?
are you talking about?
Dan, the bigger the number, the smaller the pen.
That's not true. Don't confuse Dan. He's working on
Yeah,
mine.
but it's point. It's 0 something, right? Does that mean smaller?
Oh my gosh, I don't even want to look.
Yeah, so just take that extra wide Sharpie and start inking on the face.
You know, I just bought like one of these mega Sharpies because I was just curious on actually how big it was.
Uh-huh.
Where did I do with that thing? Oh, it's right here. Look at this.
That's as big as your thumb.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It's like an electric razor or something.
Yeah, David uses one of those.
I know, it's crazy.
How do you guys do this shit?
No, it's, I stole Aaron's hair. Is asking me how I feel about being snubbed by SummerCon. I wasn't snubbed this year because I didn't reach out to them.
Yeah, they're. I will say this: they put on a really, really good show, and
I've gone a couple of times. In fact, David and I went together one year.
like how long ago was this?
That was Dave. Do you remember how long ago that was?
Oh, 25 years ago.
No, come on.
They were doing SummerCon that long ago?
It wasn't called the SummerCon. It was called something else. But I don't think it was 25 years.
Was I living out here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. 18 years ago.
Yeah, okay. I'll think twice about asking you about dates next time. But it was a while ago. And we were calling it the Puyallup Convention.
Mm.
No. We're calling it Puyallup. Puyallup is correct. We were calling it Puyallup. I was calling it Puyallup. And I wasn't corrected until like the last day.
Well, they have a great green room now. It's like gourmet food where you go in there for like lunch and stuff. And they're doing it in 3 buildings. They have that main hall, but then they have like a gaming hall and then they like artist alley hall. And they take you around in golf carts and stuff so you don't have to walk.
Oh, really?
Gary,
Yeah.
Gary, how old is your daughter?
She's in her 30s.
Dude, so it was longer than 25 years ago.
What?
Yeah, your daughter wasn't around.
That can't be.
Yeah, it totally is. Because remember, you were married and your wife brought in that rhubarb pie. First time I ever had rhubarb, I was like, what the hell is this?
That was when you were staying at the house. I'm talking about the SummerCon.
Wait.
And in Puyallup.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Oh, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
He thought when he
I was
stayed at
thinking
your
about
house,
the
it
first
was
time.
gone.
I was thinking, we got rhubarb pie at the SummerCon.
Was that the one where Jason was at?
No, that was in Ohio, I think. The one with Jason Golden and was there.
Yeah, and also Joe Jusko.
Jusko, yeah, he was there too.
Are we talking about Puyallup now, or are we talking about Ohio?
Ohio. So Puyallup, David, how long ago was that?
I can't remember.
Okay. Okay, Headless Bourgeoisie says Gary remembers when rhubarb was invented.
Look at my dad used to get like strawberry rhubarb pie all the time because he knew I wouldn't eat any of it, and he'd have it all to himself.
Strawberry rhubarb is awesome.
Oh my gosh! Why would you ruin it by putting rhubarb in there?
So you would rather eat just a strawberry pie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There we go. See, I'm not alone.
Yeah, a leg kick Puyallup. Is that correct?
Yeah, Puyallup. Puyallup.
Pew. I was saying Puyallup. Pew. Okay. Because I was saying Puyallup. For like 2 days, I was saying Puyallup.
Should have asked the Indians. They know.
I did finally ask a resident, and they politely told me.
The correct way is engines.
Engines? Okay.
But they did treat us very well there. I mean, they acted like they were happy we were there, and that's all I ask. even if it's a complete fabrication, you know, it's an act. You make me believe that you're happy I'm there.
Well, the problem is they don't communicate always all that well.
Yeah.
And so that was my problem. Like this year, and actually the year before I went as well, is that, you know, they say, hey, yeah, we'd love to have you out. And then you give them all this information. And then they never like go back. Okay, we got it. You're good.
Right.
They just,
yeah.
You don't hear anything again until like they send out the itinerary a couple days before the show starts.
Right.
I had people like going to meet me there, and my daughter's going to meet me. She has a friend that wants to come, and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going.
Right.
You know, for sure. But I am. So.
Yeah. Torch Bear Studios is asking, my Skyboy Comics light appears to flicker. Is that an effect of the camera? Yeah, it's the camera. It's on the lowest setting. If I turned up the light at all, it would flicker like crazy. So it's not the sign, it's the camera.
See, what I want to do here is I want to do some really
black it all out.
Well, that's, you know, when in doubt, black it out, right? I want to give some like really delicate feathering on the interior here, which we don't necessarily always see on David's work.
That's a kind of a slam.
No.
Except when who inks them?
Like you, for example.
I'm going to put some fine line work in it that you don't normally see.
You're right. I'm going to make an effort here that.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
No one else does. Tippy Tail McKitty says, "Pay attention, Aaron. Rhubarb is called the pie plant for a reason."
I have never heard it referred to the pie plant. I don't believe that. I think I'm being lied to right now. To try to create some sort of guilt or sympathy towards rhubarb, and it's not going to work.
Glitch is saying, I see Aaron using a Rapidograph 8404. Is that correct? That's the one with the orange in.
Not a Rapidograph, a Raphael.
Raphael. I'm Rapidograph. I read that really quickly.
I am. I was able to, through Jackson Art, was able to secure some of these. What I did realize, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't say that. I'm just sighing. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say what I did realize, Gary, is I inked part of a page of Wraith of God with a brush. And I realized why I quit using a brush.
And why is that?
because it took so long.
Well, you do have to slow down.
Yeah. And so, but every once in a while, I'm like, I think I'll do this with a brush. And it's kind of fun, but
Well, yeah, well, the line quality is different than using pens. Obviously, you get a different look to it. But people keep asking me. They want to see me inking. Trust me, it's boring because it's really slow.
Yeah, he was over here inking, and I was just like, I'd rather watch paint dry.
well, I think it was Gary. I think you told me this quote that Brian Boland had said, or that you'd read that Boland said, or something, and it was essentially that he said that he was inking something, and he looked down at his hand, and he said he was just amazed at how slowly it was moving.
Yeah, that made me feel good.
What did you guys think of the Brian Boland that I sent you this morning?
I didn't see it.
I haven't seen it either.
It was in the chat. Golly. It was they have this new Nightwing. I guess it's an NC-17 comic or whatever, and they had all these different talent do some stuff, and then Brian Boland did a cover in there. Wasn't his best.
Well, I have not seen a lot of really good Boland in recent years. In fact, I've seen some like convention sketches that people paid hundreds of dollars for, like a Joker head. That
oh my gosh,
a meatball with hair on it. I mean, it's just like you're charging $500.
He still gets the dough for that.
Yep.
I sent that to Gary, and we were just like, what happened?
Yeah, what happened? But it's all supply and demand, I guess.
Hasn't he been digital for a long time?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did some like commission ones that were on paper, and it's like Joker does not have a skull in his head. It's just so weird. I always felt I like Brian Boland's stuff. It's so perfect. It's almost too perfect.
Yeah.
But his work always looked like he was posing cadavers. And
especially his women.
Yeah, and they all have this weird deadness, and I just it gave me this creepy thing. And when I was younger, I was like, oh, it's a British thing, I was just like, oh, I guess they are all like that, but that was me being foolish. But Brian Boland, his stuff is really taking a turn, in my opinion. Not as bad as Frank Miller, though.
Yeah. Gollum Wolf, I concur. He says at the gun range, we say slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
I have never fired a gun. I kind of want to, though.
At anyone in particular?
I was like,
Dan, you instantly interpreted that as an act of violence.
Well, he's things are starting to build up a little bit there. He needs to.
You don't shoot, Dan. You don't shoot at people at a shooting range. You shoot at paper.
What?
Yeah, Dan.
That's sort of an absolute rule.
Yes, they would. Otherwise, they would ban you.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be
You
able
could
to
shoot them too, then.
You just killed that guy next to you. You can't ever come here again.
And Dan's like, oh, at the shooting range, I just shot him.
Queen Mickey's back. She's announcing it. It's an inking episode. Everybody's inking everybody else's work. And right after you left, we all started talking about you.
We did.
Knew a girl named Mickey. I guess you could say she was.
What was that? We can't hear you, David.
Nothing.
He was singing some sort of song.
So, Mickey, please log out again so we can talk about you some more.
Now the question is, should I get a pencil out and redraw the stuff where David made a mistake?
I dare you. When I was first trying to learn how to ink, and I was inking backgrounds at DC, I was trying to figure out what inking style I wanted to pursue to try to get a signature look. I had no clue what I was doing. And then I saw Brian Boland, and I thought, okay, I want to ink like him. And it's one thing to identify when someone's really good, and it's another thing to think that that I could do it too. So I pursued the Brian Boland style for years. I'm not joking. And it's probably halfway into my career when I first, started to realize I'm getting close.
Well, you did that. What was that Blue Devil?
Yeah.
That was very Bolandy.
Well, yeah, that's why I did it. I was trying to, but it was still, if you compare that, my Blue Devil to the Boland Superman that I used, they're not even close. Boland's is so much better. And Boland commented, the editor told me that when they sent that artwork to Boland before they agreed to put it it was in a Blue Devil annual as a pinup.
Oh, they wanted to get his approval on it?
Yeah. And his comment was, well, when I first looked at it, I thought he traced me, but then I looked at it closer and realized he didn't. It was like, wait a minute. That's an insult. Ryan Taylor Palmer says, Blue Devil cool. Paris is a friend of mine. Well, good, Ryan. Paris is awesome. Paris Collins, Pencil or Blue Devil. He is awesome.
Whatever happened to Paris?
He's around, but he's an enigma. He comes and goes.
What you call him?
And that's why they took him off the Blue Devil book, because he went more than he was there.
You hear David? David's like, what'd you call him?
What did I say?
You called him an enigma, and he said, what'd you call him?
Oh. Boy, I always forget. When I'm around David, I have to,
Gotta be careful.
I have to be careful. Oh, I was thinking about this yesterday, David. Hold on a second. I want to grab something. I'll be right back and continue the story.
Here we go.
I can't talk while I'm pulling feather lines.
So I bought this cool Navajo pottery in Albuquerque.
Yeah, you were showing us how you got ripped off at the what do they call it, the souvenir store.
Yeah, this was like a higher class establishment,
Okay.
and we went into a couple different, I guess you'd call them boutiques in this certain section in
Albuquerque. Wigwams, wouldn't you?
No, this wasn't like this wasn't on the reservation. That was in a kind of a upper scale. What would you call that little mall area, David?
A little mall. Why am I blanking right now? Old Town.
Old Town. Yeah, a very cool place, but it's definitely upper scale. So they have these like these boutiques with high class ware for sale. Like these expensive Navajo pottery. And so David and I are going into different ones. That's one of the things that I wanted to get was an Indian pot. And I realized after the third boutique of David and I going in there, I mean, just the type of people that were in there and the type of people that were running the place, they had to think that David and I were a couple.
Yeah.
I realized how they were looking at us, and depending on like who was there.
Hey, friends could just hold hands.
Yeah, one guy kind of sashayed up to us, and he was giving us, like really good service. And I think, okay, this guy definitely thinks we're gay.
Well, David's sitting there going, "Why do you have to eat so slow? Why are you always talking to me?"
Right, exactly. We were having a tiff in the middle of the boutique, and yeah.
Yeah, so I have to give credit to Gary, because Gary's the one who actually taught me the finer points of inking, and now I can pull lines not as well as Gary can, but good enough to get by. Learned all about dry brush and all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah, I would say that if you wanted to get work as an inker, you could.
I have to change my name and my politics, but yeah.
Yes.
He taught Rachel Dotson everything she knows.
Not everything. And I taught her the basics.
Yeah.
And I tried to learn from Gary, and he didn't teach me a damn thing. You know why? Because he wanted to ink my stuff.
That's right. He didn't want you to say,
I'm not going to teach you. I want to ink you. And the other reason why is because you're black.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He said,
He goes, "These secrets are for white folk.
You cannot learn our white devil ways."
Exactly.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Sequential artist again for 5. Thank you, sir. He says, "Dan, I think Aaron was just trying to give you positive reinforcement as you in his pencil work." Okay, let's try that again. "Dan, I think Aaron was just trying to give you positive reinforcement as you in his pencil work." Okay, that was wasted $5 sequential.
Yeah, I still don't get it.
I don't know what. But except that I was trying to give Dan positive reinforcement, which probably is inaccurate. But Nick Clark says, "Gary's book, The Art of Comic Book Inking, taught me the broader points. Wouldn't mind learning those finer points of inking." Daryl Wayne, "As you ink his pencil." But I'm not, wait a minute. "Dan, I think Aaron was just trying to give you positive reinforcements as you ink his pencil work." Oh, I see. Because I don't want him to screw it up. "Dan, that looks fabulous. You're a talented young inker. Don't screw it up."
Yeah, see, you're giving him confidence.
Now I got
you said don't screw it up. The other part was good.
Now the pressure is just too much.
He doesn't believe you because you called him young.
Well, he's a young inker. He's an old artist, but he's a young inker.
Yeah, that's true.
Do I have to ink the nipple?
Yes.
Gross.
Now you know why Buscema never drew nipples on Conan. Everybody's like, "I don't want to ink the nipples."
I Stole Aaron's Hair says, David and Gary probably look like the episode of Frasier where Niles is buying an engagement ring and his people think that his brother are couples or a couple. Yep, that's exactly what was going on there. David was saying, "Oh, those colors will simply clash with our living room."
Well,
I said, but it'll match our butt plug.
Oh my gosh. And there goes the rating. Okay.
Oh man, you took it from 0 to 60.
I know. It's like there's just no in between.
I don't know why they would think we're gay.
Yeah, can't imagine. See, I'm not disciplined like you are, Gary. I mean, I inked about half of the holding lines, then I got in here and started doing feathering in the hair, and then I go back and do a little more holding line, then I go back and do.
Yeah, sometimes you can't help it. You see something cool.
Yeah,
that
you're like,
you want to ink, and you like, oh, I got to do this right now. And some of it is how much ink is in the brush. Is that you have to monitor that. You can't like dip the brush, have lots of ink in it, and then go do delicate lines.
right. Nor can you do bold lines with no ink in the brush.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, hang on a second. Speaking of having a bunch of ink in the brush. Okay. It's like you have to use some bold lines with David's stuff because he forces perspective so much that the thing coming at you has got to be bigger than.
That foot has got to be pretty bold.
Oh wait, Gary and David aren't a couple. Sequential artists for $2. I'm not. You know what? I don't like that kind of talk on this show. So there's gonna be more punishment here. If I get here, it is. So maybe I hit the wrong button there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you should put him in his place.
And of course, glitch. Then I knew the minute I said it, that thing coming at you has got to be bigger.
Glitch is he just hangs around waiting for his opportunity.
Yep.
Mickey is asking, Gary, what do you use to clean your brushes after?
Yeah.
I'm not going to read that last part because David is going to jump on it.
Read it.
Okay. What do you use to clean your brushes after you finish?
Oh my! A towel.
Oh my gosh.
I just use water. But when I clean the brush, I make sure there isn't any trace of ink in the water. It's absolutely clear.
I use soap.
Yeah, I don't think you need to use soap. I think that's rough, harsh on the bristles.
Well, I have taken to your advice, and this particular brush I'm using right here, I have not washed off with soap. I just washed it off with water to see if it lasts longer.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I dip in water, shake it, in water, and then just roll it on a paper towel.
Oh my!
And I keep doing that until there's no ink visible on the paper towel. When I roll on it and the water is clear, that's when I stop, and that could take a couple of minutes.
What do you think of that, David?
The barrel of the brush, where the hairs go up into that metal tube, that holds ink as well, and you have to get all that out.
Right.
Not just the bristles that you see. There's also the bristles that you don't see.
Just be a penciler. Shit.
That's deep, man. All right, now I've got some interesting interpretation here I'm going to have to do because David's got like some line work, but it looks like it could be solid black that he was kind of trying to fill in. So now I get to make a decision.
But you are the inker, so whatever you decide is correct.
Right. That's right. Well, unless the penciler goes, that's not what I was going for. I'm never using you again.
That's true. If you want another job, then
that's when you pick up my phone.
But you don't have to worry about that, Aaron. Right. So go for it, man.
Oh, I'm going to go for it. I'm doing that.
I recommend you dry brush all the feathering.
Well, I'm kind of dry brushing a little bit in the hair, the edge of the hair.
I feel like I'm kind of cheating on Dan's because he pencils so hard, the ink is just falling right into it. So into the grooves of this thing. I don't know if you could.
So I make like a trough. Is that what you're saying? Like,
Yeah.
Well, I just remember Dick Giordano told me once is like this when you're inking on some pencilers that they pencil so hard, literally all you have to do is just pour ink onto the paper and then wipe it off, and whatever sticks. Yes, Mickey, just regular water, distilled water.
Well, it is funny because, again, Dan pencils really, really hard, but at the same time, there's a lot of loose, squiggly, like feathering stuff that really, I was really guessing when I was inking that sludge piece that you did. Because I wasn't sure what he was going for, so then I just was like, yeah, I'm going to...
how much clearer do I have to make it for you?
Oh, my gosh. I wish I interpreted some of it like I would interpret it, but then I tried to interpret some of it the way I thought you wanted it interpreted, and I wish I'd just gone like and just did what I wanted to do over it. I think it would have been more consistent, but it's just one of those things, man. The problems that Gary faces every single time he works with somebody.
Yep. Golem Wolf is asking, Gary, do you use different ink for dry brushing than use regular inking? No, I just I use Higgins Black Magic, and if you leave the cap off, it gets thicker. And so I have different thicknesses of ink. So thinner ink is easier to feather with. Thick ink is easier to fill in the blacks and to do dry brush. And who else? Somebody else asked an interesting question. Let me find it. Oh, I Stole Aaron's Hair is asking Gary news on your Astro Girl comic. Astro Gal. I've written the story, and I'm waiting for a certain someone to send me some layouts, and I'll start drawing.
Yeah, I don't know who that would be.
I can make my distilled water, according to Rachel, by boiling and catching the vapors. So, okay, I'll get right on that.
What?
To clean my brush.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just use Perrier.
Perrier, like the very finest.
Yes, the French,
Sounds really snobby.
I use fire.
And Rand has asked, do you usually ink? I guess this is for everybody. Do you usually ink directly over the pencils, or do you make a blue line? Normally, it depends. Sometimes the penciler will ship the pencil art, like in this case.
They'll do what?
Ship the pencil originals to the inker. But nowadays, that's kind of the exception. Mostly, like you take an inking gig, you can assume that you're going to be inking on blue lines.
But here's the thing. I hate that because then you have two pieces of original artwork. And if you're saving all your artwork, then it doesn't matter. But if you're selling it, then it makes it very difficult for the buyer because they're like, well, there's like the printed artwork and then there's actually the penciler's work.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a bonus to have two.
You know who started doing that first?
Jerome Moore.
No.
Oh, okay.
Nolan.
No. It was Mike Rowinga.
Really?
Yeah. Because he was just sick of sending stuff and sick of having other people. He just wanted to have complete books. And then that started getting around. And then Kevin Nolan was like, hey, that's a great idea. And then it started trending.
Well, see, I know a lot of people were like, they get stuck with an inker they didn't like, and they'd like ink the blue lines so you don't ruin the pencils or whatever. But I don't know if you. I want the original back with the inker's work on it. I mean, yeah, I've had some bad inkers, but I've also had a lot of good inkers, and it's like I want that original art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rowingo had great inkers because he had Carl Kiesel,
Yeah, he had some really
and,
good inkers.
but he just didn't like breaking up the artwork. It was just something in him that he's. I don't want my art broken up like that between myself. He's a. If it's my drawing, I want my drawing. So the only way he could solve it was by having him ink on blue lines, and so that the inker could have a whole issue, and that's his work. And, he has his pencils.
Yeah, but I wonder, and it just me being an art collector, and I wonder what other art collectors think about that because
They don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, if you're not going to sell your artwork, then that's cool. But if you are, I think it's, I don't know. I don't like it.
Well, I think Rowingo also had the thing where he didn't, intend for some art dealer to have it at any time. Whatever art he was going to sell, he was selling it to a true fan. So I understand his dilemma. I mean, but I wouldn't go that far. I mean, if I was, I would have just tried to ink my own stuff, like what I'm doing
Right.
now.
Yeah, that way you get all your stuff.
As a collector,
Yeah.
if I'm like buying somebody else's artwork, I prefer getting inks on the original pencils.
Yes.
For sure.
As
Sure.
as an inker, I prefer inking on blue line
Now, why?
because I don't have to erase
Oh, yeah.
the
You don't have
line
to
you
clean
put
up
down.
the artwork, which is a real pain in the butt.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about smearing or any of that. It's just
No,
it's just easier to ink on a blue line than
I
the
can
pencil.
see that.
Well, when I ink my stuff, I pencil like crap, and then I light box over it and ink that way, so I don't get any smudging or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I tried
So
doing
it's
that. I cannot ink on a light box. I can't do it.
Really?
No, I can do it, but I hate it.
Oh, okay. That's different.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. What else? Somebody else asked a question. Rand is asking, what do I think of Mark Morales? So he's an awesome artist, great inker. Let's see.
I've worked with Mark a couple of times.
Have you ever heard of an inker or a penciler who just will ink maybe just the faces and then send it off to the inker?
I've done that.
I mean, because sometimes when I'm drawing, it's like the that face, it's got to be done just like it's so subtle to getting those eyes in the right place and stuff.
Right.
That it's not that the inker couldn't do it, but that they're not mind readers, and they don't know. I don't even know sometimes what I want to see,
I've done that
And,
with Gary, right?
Al Gordon used to share studio with Eric Larson. And Eric, when he was drawing Doom Patrol, when I was inking him, Al would grab a page and ink a face or a panel or and so I would get pencil pages from Eric with some of the stuff inked already. And I didn't really care because
less work for you.
Exactly. It's like Al's not getting paid for that. So that's less work that I have to do. But somebody, when I was selling a page, said, what, this looks like a different style. And I explained it to him and he's like, wow, did you get really mad? I was like, no, that's a face that I didn't have to ink.
You know who did that back when we were in the studio? Tom Simmons was inking. Doggone, who's the American?
Oh, that's right, Adam Warren.
Warren.
Yeah.
ink random parts of pages. It wasn't always the face. It was just
He didn't trust Tom. And so he would ink, like certain faces and certain hands and things like that.
Well, I wasn't going to put it quite that harshly, Gary.
No, but that's exactly what was going on.
I wish I'd thought of that because I didn't trust a lot of inkers and I didn't do anything.
I would do that with Gary because he was a brush guy. I like pen on certain things. And I'd say, hey, Gary, could you ink these teeth with a pen? And because teeth are hard, they're rigid and they shouldn't have like a softness. And then I inked a couple and he was like, oh. And then I think that was probably the exception where he went back and probably used a pen on some pieces that we did, right, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain lines that David wanted to look a certain way, a hard, crisp. And sometimes you can do that with a brush, and sometimes you can't. With a pen, you can do it every time.
Well, I remember Gary was inking me, and I said, Gary, I want this to look like Dave Stevens. And he goes, then why don't you draw it like Dave Stevens? So that was
Turn my pencils magically into Dave Stevens. No, I got that with, who was it? It was a Huntress story I did with Mark. Shoot, I can't remember his name. I can't tell the story unless I remember his name, but he told me that. He got like,
was it
he got
Beecham?
like Dave Stevens. I was like, yeah, okay, no problem.
Was it Mark Beecham?
Beecham, yes.
There you go. Thank you. That's what I'm here
That's
for.
the guy who drew like the hot women in like sort of photorealistically.
Yeah.
He was in Neil Adams' studio, wasn't he, for a while?
Beecham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Was he?
I think so.
Yeah.
In continuity?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh. Rach just asked, did Dave just admit that Gary is soft? No. Hell no. Heavens to Murgatroyd.
These lines look like I had 5 cups of coffee before I drew.
It's a little shaky.
Your table is... it's got to be the camera. It can't be your table.
I just bumped the camera with my head.
Okay. It looked like your table was moving. It's like, well, that might be...
Might have something to do
Like
with
trying to ink on a moving train. Headless Bourgeoisie is asking whatever happened to Larry Moustad. Doesn't remember seeing anything in the late 80s. I don't know. He probably got a real job.
No,
he was making a lot of stuff for DC when I first got there. But after in the 90s, I don't remember seeing his work anywhere.
It is weird how guys were like, we talk about how things are in the industry right now, but just for the entire history of comics, it's just there's guys that were just there and they were getting work and then suddenly they just disappeared.
Yeah.
They're no longer getting work, or they decided,
and they don't want to tell you that they, found the promised land. They keep it a secret. Oh, by the way, I'm making 3 times as much money and I'm only working 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Rachel Brinkley is asking you, Aaron, what brand of ink are you using?
I am using, at the moment, Super Black Speedball India ink.
That sounds like David. Super black.
David is super black, slow ball.
Yeah.
I will whip all y'all asses.
Hold
No,
on a second. We got
my-
an update on Larry Mousted. Hold on a second. Sequential Treasures says Larry inked New Warriors in the late 90s. I did not know that. Storage Bear Studio says, if you want an inking challenge, yeah, like inking isn't hard enough. If you want an inking challenge, try doing it with a cat on your lap.
Yeah, now that might be problematic.
That'll do it.
Before I forget.
It's a good thing because this brush just sort of ran out of ink. Now, I'll admit this freely right now. Now, Gary, unless you're trying to emulate a certain style, when you inking just like your normal inking, you have like a consistency to how you do things.
Yes.
And I am sitting here, I am pulling lines like Boland, and then I'm brushing out like Wrightson, all in the same drawing. It's like whatever,
Sounds like a humble brag.
Suits me. Well, yeah, I'll tell you this. I think it looks pretty good.
I think Wrightson did that. If you look at,
you might be right.
The recreations that I've done, I've probably studied Wrightson as much as Aaron has. If you look at his inking, sometimes it's super, super, super loose.
Yep.
And sometimes it's laser controlled.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because that is true. Because sometimes you think, is he using a pen here? And you're like, no, he's not. Sequential Artist for 5 says, is Todd McFarlane overpowering in his inking, or is he like Vince Coletta, diminishing the pencil work? Gary, what's your
totally
opinion?
Overpowering? Did you say Todd McFarlane?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me give you the definitive answer on Todd McFarlane's inking.
Wait a minute. Let me read Stealth first and then get into it. Stealth X5 for $2 says watermelon, which I hate, pineapple, which I love, butter, cheeseburger, steak, jumbo shrimp, looks like a nice little bourbon there maybe, mug of beer, and then some sort of mixed drink, which could be it's got a cherry sticking out of it. I don't know. Some sort of cocktail, though. So a lot of booze at the end of that feast from Stealth. Thank you, sir, for the
sounds good.
The food. Okay, so we have 20 minutes to 4 o'clock, and there's a slight chance that Dan may get hit by a thunderstorm and have to dip out so he doesn't blow up his equipment. But he'll keep us posted as we get closer to the hour here. All right. Gary, tell us all about Todd McFarlane.
Well, when it comes to inking, McFarlane doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
All right. So what are you trying to say?
I can say that about his penciling too, but I won't.
Is that the end of the statement there?
Yes, that's all I need to.
That's why I didn't take the Spawn gig.
Yeah.
He wanted to ink me, and I was like,
yeah. Todd wanted to ink David on Spawn.
Yeah, I get that, but he probably wouldn't have lasted very long before he gave up on it, and it would have been interesting, don't you think, to just like see what he.
Oh, and in hindsight, sure, I should have took the hit, because I would have owned another house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we would have made a lot of money, but there would have been a huge price to pay.
Yeah.
Well, in a similar story, I took a job and they wanted George Perez to ink it, and I said,
"Oh yeah."
Oh,
no, no, thank you.
Nope.
And I remember the guy was his agent or whoever he was, because like he was befuddled.
He was like, "What?" And I'm like, but it's George Perez. And I go, yeah, I know. That's why
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And I know it's heresy, but I've never been a very big George Press fan.
Aaron, I will back you up on that. Neither have I.
I know.
And I inked George, so I know what I'm talking about. Although he was a really nice guy.
He was.
One of the, true gentleman of comics.
So we'll give him that.
So Gary, what was like the you know how the Image guys came in and they were very different artists. You knew some of the older guys probably. What was their assessment of the Image crew? Were they just like,
well, like anybody else, some of them were great and some of them weren't. And that you can't fool an artist with hype. You could, artists, artists see right through it. I think that some of them were very resentful on how much money they were making, and that might have skewed their opinion of their work. But that's, you can't discredit their business decisions.
I still feel like the Image guys, even though most of them are, they're interesting artists, it was so off-brand for Marvel. When you think about, the Buscema, Gil Kane, Romita.
I don't think Keown was off-brand.
No. In
But
fact, he did a great Hulk run. That was
oh yeah, he was just doing it better than most of them.
Yeah, but Dale wasn't really an Image guy. He came in later. He wasn't like the original crew.
One of the founders. Yeah, that's true.
They just, I think, said, "Hey, why aren't you working for us and doing your book for us? You'll make way more money." And he's like, "Yeah." I asked him about that, but God, I did an interview, pretty extensive interview with him on my show years ago, and I can't remember all the details, but it is there on YouTube.
I remember that interview. It was a good interview.
Jerry, can you read what Postmaster Dan just said?
Can I do what? I couldn't hear you.
Read Postmaster Dan.
Postmaster Dan.
Okay. Hold on a second. You mean past
Postmaster.
Okay. Past Master Dan is saying David is almost done. Just saying.
He can't tell because it looked done before he started.
Have you finished inking the snow, David?
You're right. I'm prepping to do some splatter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you remember what I said last time about how I do splatter.
Okay, now they don't want to revisit that. No, I was very, and I admit, I was very sort of jealous of the Image guys because I didn't think they were very good. And Silvestri was, and Jim Lee was. And they're making all this money. It's like at that period of time, I was having a hard time just getting work, period. But now looking back on it, I really appreciate what those guys accomplished, and it really has very little to do whether you think they're good artists or not. The fact that they were able to accomplish what they did is impressive.
Yep. That is undeniable.
That is it. The thing is you can kind of criticize it, but they just did it. Anybody can, talk about doing it. They did it.
Yep. And it worked too. So you can sit there and say, well, I don't think McFarlane can draw or Liefeld's not a good artist, but man, the fans loved their art. And they're not out there to impress me. They're out there to impress the buyers, the readers, the fans, and they did.
Yeah.
So they obviously knew more than we did. Because we always get caught up in this idea that comics is about good drawing, and it's about effective drawing, and that can take a lot of different forms.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, you use the same, you could use that same argument with Kirby,
Yeah.
is that, you know, he made it up as he went, and he didn't necessarily, you know, he didn't use reference for vehicles or weapons or, you know, or anatomy, but it sure worked.
Yep.
And so I guess that's what, you know, some of the image guys were doing, not, you know, from the Kirby school or from his genius, but that same approach is that.
Right. Well, a lot of those guys were kind of Michael Golden disciples, and when Michael first started, his stuff was very different when he was just.
Oh yeah, that's true. It was kind of wonky, cartoony.
Right. And then it became this really sort of stylized, just blow your mind type stuff.
Yeah.
But they weren't really, and even Arthur Adams they were kind of taking from his bloopy style, you know, not as much from his refined style that we saw, you know, in the late 80s and 90s. And so they didn't really get the best of Golden, which is kind of an interesting thing, but they were able to turn it into gold for themselves.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Adams is a really good artist, so I'm not put him in category as McFarlane, but
I would not put him in that same category.
But they were both, you know, obviously influenced heavily by Michael Golden,
right?
At least early on.
A lot of the guys that were, you know, older professionals criticizing the image guys, there was a time at Marvel when the image guys were doing their thing at Image that every book tried to look like an Image book.
Yep.
And it was disgusting because they weren't even close.
Yeah, and I remember Herb Trimpe, God rest his soul, was, you know, trying to stay relevant, and he was, you know, doing like.
Yeah, that was a little sad, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, did not look good, and I mean, it's like when you've got art like that isn't really about the quality of the art; it's all about the style. If that style isn't something that is natural to you, it's like it's almost impossible to emulate it.
Yeah. Remember, during the studio days, Randy Emberlin was inking a Conan story, and they told him it wasn't drawn in the Image style, if Image has a style, but they told him to ink it in the Image style.
Oh,
boy, was it awful.
Yeah, yep.
Conan.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. But that's, you know, those guys are making money. We want to make money. They must, you know, they're doing it. So if we do this, people can't tell the difference, and people can only tell the difference.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't just were they popular. They were, anyone who got on X-Men was popular.
That's true.
And they were standing on the, you know, the shoulders of a lot of great artists before them that had sort of paid. You got 20 years, you know, when X-Men launched. But people forget you had 20 years where X-Men was the #1 comic book consistently.
Yeah, John Byrne, and then John Romita Jr. was on there too, wasn't he, earlier than those guys?
I'm just saying it was a, you know, because back then, remember, a #1 was really rare, and everyone looked at X-Men #1 and said, "Oh my gosh, if I could only have 10 X-Men #1s, I would be rich," you know. So when the X-Men new one came out, they all thought, I can retire with this, you know. Just buy a bunch of these. So people bought a lot of them, you
know. According to John Beatty, hey, John, he says Trimpe was told to draw like that or he wouldn't get work.
Oh, well, that's even worse then.
Yeah.
And that's really difficult for someone that's been. Can you imagine saying to John Buscema, "You got to draw like Liefeld, man, or I'm not going to use you anymore."
Yeah.
I was thinking. That's what I was asking. It's like some of these guys go, "Oh my God, I can't draw like this."
But it's just such a great example of the meat grinder that is comics. And I'm just not just comics, but you know, these guys were. I mean, how long did Trimpe draw the Hulk? How many years? Like a decade, you know? And then you get to a certain point where you're just not relevant anymore. So see you later.
Talk about one of the great and less known inking penciling combinations was Trimpe and John Severin.
I love Severin over Trimpe because I was never a huge Trimpe fan, but when Severin inked him, I loved his stuff.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, how would you like to be? You know, oh, you're going to work your first job at Marvel. Guess who's inking you? John Severin.
Oh my God. Begging him to just redraw everything, please, too.
Beatty says Buscema was barred from doing cover work around the same time. Editors were told to not hire him for covers. Too old-fashioned.
Yep.
But see, that's what I thought. I thought like these guys are going off-brand. It's like you could, you know, hey, you all of a sudden we have this. You have Coca-Cola for 20 years, and then you switch to Orange Crush, and Orange Crush is delicious. It's great. It's wonderful. But it's not the same brand. And what about all the people who said, because weren't there a lot of people, fans, who looked at it and said, hey, this isn't the comics I signed up for that I used to have. And I thought I remember people like that just saying, I'm closing my collection rather than have this stuff in it, you know?
For me, Conan was always a character best served when it was done by illustrators.
Yes.
Comic book artists, to me, doesn't work on Conan.
Yeah, because it's
fans. There are exceptions, you know, like Bruce Timm's Conan is, in my opinion, brilliant. I'd love to see more of that kind of thing. But Conan, you know, it just, that type of work needs someone who really knows what they're doing.
You know what's interesting is Todd McFarlane did a Conan once, and it was really cool, I thought.
All right, Dan, you're off the show.
No, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
He did a cover or something. I don't know if he actually
did.
did.
Yeah, that's what I mean, a cover. Like, and it was actually, I was surprised.
Well, it was certainly, again, it was incredibly different than what you would expect.
But it was savage. It had energy. It was something kind of neat.
John is asking a question. I'm not sure what he's referring to. Aaron, help me out. John Beatty asks, did Aaron have a freak off yet today while I wasn't here?
You know, John, I am always so composed. I don't know what he's talking about.
It might be like something to do with disco, perhaps.
Yeah.
You are from the 70s, you know. So.
Yeah, I know. But, and I did, you know, we used to go a little disco dancing to pick up some girls every once in a while back in the day.
Ah, freak.
Yeah, they freak, says Chic.
Sorry, what did I miss?
Disco dancing.
Aaron's freaking off.
Yeah, Beatty's taking shots at me again. He won't come on the show, though. I don't know. I don't know.
Diddy and baby oil. What are you talking about, John?
No, Beatty, John Beatty, not baby oil. Oh my.
No, I'm reading John Beatty. He said Diddy and baby oil as a question. What are you talking about?
Yeah, see, Mickey is saying Diddy Lopresti.
What? Oh my. All right, now I'm gonna freak out.
Aaron LaDiddy.
Oh my.
Why does everybody torture Aaron?
You'd think that
Because Aaron tees it up nicely.
you would think I'm an unlikable guy or something, but I just don't know.
So Skull Dasher's, starting the trend here. He says Lopez is the Diddy of CG.
Oh my gosh! Now I got to have this following me around. Thanks, John. Or was it who? Wait a minute. Was it?
Yeah,
Mickey
who
or
started
John?
it?
Who started it? Mickey or John?
I think John started it and Mickey piled on, and now it's a thing.
Well, typical.
So Mickey wants you to sign that piece, Diddy Lopez. She says that's your inker's name.
I'm just.
I think he could get work. I think Diddy Lopez can get work as.
I might be able to get some work. I don't know that. I don't know that I deserve this, Gary. This sort of reputation.
Aaron, it has nothing to do with deserve.
Oh, okay. I guess you're right.
See, the thing is, you're getting annoyed. That's the thing. I get annoyed.
He's a bunch that says a Diddy party with a bunch of old white dudes. Count me out.
Yeah, you might be onto something there. Might not be as.
Yeah, when it comes to partying, we're probably past our prime, I would think.
Yeah.
Okay, J Dredd, I'm not reading that.
Beatty comes in here and just disrupts the whole chat. I'm not going to do that. That doesn't work. All right. This is messed up.
So, what's the time situation?
Well, it's 1 minute to 4 o'clock, which is 1 minute to 7 o'clock for Dan Lawless. How's your lightning looking, Dan, at this point?
I don't hear anything. So
okay, well then we're good. Gary, do you have a beef for us this week?
I do.
Well, let's visit that then, shall we? I've got ink all over my fingers, and I'm touching this white mouse. And all right, here we go. I think. Wait a minute, where is it? There it is.
What's Gary's beef?
All right, Gary, what have you got for us?
So when I got back from my trip to Albuquerque, I got an email notice from my bank telling me that my credit card payment is due the next day, the following day. Like, uh-oh, I forgot to pay it. So my beef is with my bank. I won't say the bank's name. I'll just say the initials, Wells Fargo. So, the courtesy email, hey, you'll be past due tomorrow. So I go, okay, I got 1 day. So I log in, pay it, click the button, and I get a notice that says, we can't do that right now. There is a problem. Try again later.
Oh.
So, okay, I wait 15 minutes, type everything in again, hit the button. I get the same, we can't do that right now. Try again later. So I wait about an hour. I do it again. Same thing. I wait till that evening, several hours later. Same thing. So I give up. Next morning, I log on. Guess what? I'm late. I'm hit with a penalty. And I thought, okay, I see where this is going. So I call them up. You know how hard it is to get to talk to a live person when you're calling a bank. So I'm on hold for like 15 minutes listening to the super crappy music. Finally, I get someone. They ask me what I want. I have to explain.
Wait, what's super crappy music?
It was so crappy, I can't even tell you. So I have to explain to them my whole situation about me trying to pay the day before, not being able to several times, and now I'm getting hit with a penalty. And she's like, oh, well, I can't help you. You need the credit card department. I'll put you on hold.
No.
15 more minutes of crappy music. Then I get a second person. And they don't know anything about my previous conversation. So I have to explain the whole thing to the second person. And then they say, okay, well, do you want the credit card resolution center or do you want tech support? I was like, I don't know, because I'm dealing with two issues that your website wouldn't let me to pay the bill, and I've been penalized for not paying the bill. She says, okay, I'll transfer you to tech. Boom, put on hold again. 15 more minutes of crappy music. The tech guy comes on to explain the whole thing to him. And he said, well, yeah, we were experiencing some issues yesterday, but we've taken care of it. So if you try to pay it again, there won't be a problem. And I said, well, is that normal? I mean, people trying to pay their bill and they can't. He says, well, it happens every once in a while. He was kind of cool. And I said, well, okay, so can you help me about the penalty part? He said, no, I'm going to have to transfer you to the credit card department. 15 more minutes on hold, listening to crappy music. Okay, doing the math. I've been on this phone for over an hour, and I still haven't dealt with my main issue of being penalized. So I get the fourth person. I have to explain everything to them all over again, what's happened, blah, blah, blah. They say, okay, I'm sorry this happened. I'll go in, make the adjustment. You won't be penalized. It's not going to show up on your statement right away, but I assure you this will be taken care of. Okay, great. I hang up. I log on. I try to pay my credit card. We can't do that right now. There's a problem. Try again later. So what, Margo? Boo!
That's a beef.
That's a spicy beef.
Yep. Well, we our mortgage got sold to a new company, and I had a question about one of the charges on there. So I tried to call them, and you get like the computer thing, right? If you want this, press 3, and you go through this whole thing. It takes you about 5-10 minutes to get through this whole nonsense, and then it gets you to this thing. You say, I'd like to talk to a real person. And what I said was, because I always, when it just rambles on, I just go operator.
Yeah.
They go, so you'd like to talk to a real person, and that's not how they describe it. But you like to talk, and I said, yes. And then the cycle started over again. So I never got connected to a real person. It recognized the fact that I wanted to talk to a real person, but then it would send me back to the menu and I'd go through the whole process again, and it never got me to a regular person. So I got so pissed off. They had a chat, and I said, this is the worst company you people are. Your customer service sucks. I mean, I was just ranting and raving in this chat because it's like an AI chat. It's not like a real person, right? And then I sent the bill in, and I never got this extra charge addressed. So I just wrote on the bill, you guys are a crappy company. Your customer service sucks. You're horrible. I just wrote all this stuff on the bill, right? So then a couple days later, or after I sent it out, they cashed the check, right? So maybe a week, 10 days later, I get this phone call. And you know how your phone will say spam likely or unidentified number or whatever. So I'm like, so I never answer those because, you know,
I don't
save yourself the grief. And you figure if it's important, they'll leave a message and call them back. Well, it was the bank calling me back and then said, sorry we missed you, but there's like a real person call. It said, sorry we missed you, but please call us back at your convenience. Just like, I couldn't identify them when they called me, so I didn't get the call. And now they want me to go back on the automated line and do the same crap again.
Yeah, they're trying to trap you into this never-ending cycle. You're calling them, you're waiting on hold, you don't get anyone, they call you back, you don't pick up.
Yeah, so I was, I feel your pain, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I feel your pain.
So I blame David because I didn't think ahead for my trip to pay a bill that was due a week later before I left.
Wait, you just admitted that you didn't do something, but yet you blame me?
Yeah, of course.
He said, because you're black.
I was stupefied with all, the gluttony that was going on over at your place.
Yeah, it's like,
they act like real men over here. I haven't been around stuff like this before.
Could that be like part of what hell is? Like at different levels of hell, obviously. And one of them is customer service. Like,
can you imagine? That would be the worst. Sequential artists,
also customer service.
Sequential artists for 5. Sadly, the process is part of the punishment. Wells Fargo goes far away with your money. Well, Wells Fargo goes far away with your money. Thank you, Sequential. Let's see here. All right. Hey, I want to take a second just to ask everybody to be kind enough to hit the like and subscribe if you have not done so already. It does help this channel grow, which may be something you're interested in, maybe not, but help us out anyway.
Hold on a second. Dan, you're talking about some of Mickey's financial tips. She's giving another one. Pro tip, auto pay.
There you go.
Sometimes I can't keep track of all my auto pays, so I don't do them on purpose, just so I know when the bill's coming.
Well, and as a freelancer, I would never, especially early on in my career, would never do, like, even when they were starting to come out with auto pay, or what time of the month do you want this, to come out? And you're just like, because you never know from month to month how much money you're going to make or when you might get a paycheck, right? So you're like,
the money does not come in consistently, so it's hard to have bills go out consistently.
Yep. And here we are 35 years later and it's still the same.
Yep.
I have no idea.
Whew.
Yeah, it would be interesting how many of us, when we were super passionate about breaking into comics in our early days, and someone warned you, okay, you could probably have a long career in comics, except you will always be living check to check. Would you still take the job? Probably we would.
Yeah, that's a sad thing. Just do things differently, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, somehow I'll beat the system.
Well, I can tell you, I would have made a couple of decisions differently that I did make, but
A Lake Kick is saying Dan's got a Keown feel to his inking. That's interesting.
You can't see it very clearly, obviously.
I was going to say, if that's actually true, I'll take that any day.
Yeah, Aaron, I still want to know how Dale went from working for Marvel and having somebody else ink your work to going to Image and inking like you're you were born to it.
I know, like
You have special, Olympian powers. Like, where'd this come from?
I know how. Yeah, white. Well, I guess the reason he wasn't inking himself probably from the beginning was that it would have taken too much time. But
No time, yeah.
man, God, we were blown away by that stuff. I still wish I'd stolen that page now.
Every time we talk about that incident where we were looking at owned Image originals, you mentioned wishing you had stolen the pages.
Well, knowing now how good-natured Dale is,
If I would have stole those pages, I'd be a millionaire.
well, people that remember, we were looking at the pages from Pit number 1, and there was a double pager in there where he's like, I think, beating up a motorcycle gang or something.
And he's
Wait.
He's trying to make a statement.
Yeah.
Wait, how did you guys come to be looking at his pages?
We were walking
In the
through
Malibu
We're getting
office.
a tour of Malibu
Yeah.
for the Ultraverse stuff, and we walked by this room, and someone said, "Yeah, this is the art return." And Barry and I are like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah. Could you hold the tour for a few
Hold the
minutes?
tour up
We're
for a
going
minute.
in here.
Yeah, Barry and I are going in here, and that's what this is a stack of. There was a bunch of stuff in there, but there was Dale's Pit pages just sitting there.
I don't remember any of the other artwork.
I don't either. I didn't care.
No, I didn't either.
Once we saw that, we were like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, we were boggled.
Yeah. And then when we realized he was using a brush, we were just like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" That was kind of the moment when I was looking at the Killing Joke originals that I saw at San Diego, some dealer had, and I realized that Bolin was using a brush. I was like, I could not believe it.
As late as that?
Yeah, that was all brush, man.
No, I mean, it took you to the Killing Joke before you realized that?
Well, I hadn't seen his originals before.
Oh, okay.
It was the first time I'd seen his originals, and I was just looking at it going, wait a minute. And I get up closer, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a brush.
Mickey's asking a very good question. What did they do with the art they didn't return?
Well, as far as I know, they returned all that stuff.
Well, yeah, as far as you know.
Well, do you think any of those Image guys would let Malibu keep their originals?
Beatty says Bolin sent only photostats to DC on the Killing Joke.
Yep. That's what I heard.
Well, I'm telling you, I saw. Well, is he implying that?
No,
you were
he's
talking
just
about seeing the originals at dealers.
You said you saw him at a dealer. He's just talking about at DC.
Yeah. No, they weren't a D. Yeah, they were at a dealer.
There's some other artists that was doing that too, that they didn't want to send original art to DC, so they go get them photostated themselves. To get stuff photostated back then, that was kind of out of pocket.
Yeah, it was expensive. It wasn't like just making copies. It was an actual camera process.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the interesting thing though was, I mean, I can see that if you're inking your own work, why in the world would you give it to them to potentially lose or have it stolen?
Yeah, especially shipping from across the water.
Yep.
I told you that I inked one of Dave Gibbons' Batman stories in Brave and Bold Annual. And the art department sent me, Dave did the main story, pencils and inks, a Batman story in his style.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also did an old-fashioned Batman story that I inked. And for some reason, they sent me all of the original art. So I had all these Gibbons pages of a job that I had nothing to do with. Okay,
And you still,
what do you think?
and I
What do
still
you think
have
went through? Yeah, what do you think went through my fevered brain? Boy, was Dave grateful that I shipped the pages to him.
that's when you like you. That's when you kind of go, I could have kept these,
No,
but
I'm
I
sure I didn't
didn't.
have to say it. Yeah, I didn't have to say it.
And then you go, maybe let me
Yeah,
help you sometime.
but he did. I mean, I got several inking gigs with him.
Oh,
after
that's
that.
cool.
Yeah.
What are you inking with, Aaron?
Well, I'm filling in the blacks with those fine art pen Sharpies right now, because that little number 2 brush trying to fill in these blacks is like, forget about it. Take
Yeah,
forever.
look at how deep that black looks.
I know it is. These Sharpies are awesome. They're really black. And you know what they say? Once you go black,
Who says that?
that's what David was telling me.
Okay. So don't say they.
I don't use those pronouns.
I heard you say it.
I'm not sure. See, now this is where I fall apart. Is if I have to pull like really super long lines, like these speed lines in the background. I'm thinking I might just get a French curve and use a pen, because I can't do it by hand like Gary could.
I don't always do it by hand. It just depends on how I'm feeling at the moment.
Yeah, but you can do it. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I don't. Sometimes I'm not. My confidence wanes. That's my point.
Yeah, I'm looking. There's going to be some serious wobble to these if I pull a line that long.
Freaka Boogie.
Good old
Hey,
freak.
Freak, how's it going? Says, I think Dan's inking is bringing out a totally European Mobius vibe on that Hulk. Looks super cool.
No,
Interesting.
can't wait to see it up close.
Yeah, I'd say wait till you guys. It won't be badly sort of constructed, but if you look at the lines, it just looks like ay ay ay.
Thanks, Dan. Feeling good now.
Dan just invented an inking trick technique criticism. Ay ay ay.
Ay caramba.
What do you think of my inks, Mr. Rubenstein? Ay ay ay.
Don't make me laugh. I'm trying to ink a line here. I can't hold the pen steady.
So I forget who. Someone in the chat had asked you to critique their portfolio in Puyallup. So now you have a something to say if you don't like it.
That's right. I'll go. Ay ay ay. I'm going to do it anyway, and hopefully they'd watch the show all the way through.
How about like for the love of Mike?
Yeah, that's another good one. I like that. For the love of Mike.
Or one that I like is, so you plan to do this for a living?
Wow, I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, this artwork should be studied by historians.
Oh, man.
Jay Dredd says, "Oy vey."
Yeah.
The Paul Glacy phrase, "It ain't cutting it."
It ain't cutting it. That's right. I wish I'd been more bold in talking to letting my opinion be known about certain things. Like.
Well, you're making up for it now.
Yeah, I guess so. But
You're always a very upfront and honest guy. So I don't know what you're talking
Well, I
That
mean,
was Creative A that said they wanted you to critique the work. So prepare yourself.
yeah.
Prepare
Oh,
yourself. Liquor up before you get your critique from Aaron.
Oh man. Ay, ay, ay.
there's gonna be a whooping.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Dan,
it's like you got to say it like that too, with such, like it's you're in pain.
ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
Where do I start? Dan
When,
loves
when I was working in consumer products, our boss Frank Espinoza, when he would see something that was like off or not good or whatever, he would he had this thick Cuban accent. So I would thought he'd see it and go, "Oh, Manischewitz." You know, we were like, "What?"
Manischewitz?
Yeah, that'd be the first thing that come out of his mouth. We're like, "What?"
I don't think
Oh
that's
man,
good.
Manischewitz.
Not good in any language.
I
Oh,
remember
David, what are you
the
giving me?
the
Manischewitz.
whole power pack that you and I worked on when I first saw the like splash pages of Hulk was smashing a subway car and the people inside were flying around, and
Oh yeah.
you had this Jewish guy, he had the yarmulke on and the curls.
Oi!
Yeah, yeah, and you said, that his dialogue should be, "Oy vey." I almost wet my pants laughing, and it's not going to be funny to anyone listening to the story because you didn't see David's drawing. It fit it so perfectly.
I should dig that out.
Mickey says,
Didn't I send it to you?
yeah. Mickey says, my sensei used to say, "Oh, Mickey, that's not good." Wow. Thanks for the, constructive criticism. Now I know I can go home and, and fix it.
Oh, that's not good. I like that. It's kind of direct, but it doesn't.
John,
That's good.
John, you are absolutely 100% right. You know me too well. John says, you say oy vey. Gary says alve.
Oh boy. Okay.
Wow.
Alve, of course, was a inker.
Yeah, Al got a lot of work. I don't know why, but he sure got a lot of work.
What time is it right now, Gary?
It's past the time you said you would be done.
Well, no, wait a minute.
Now wait a minute.
I'm not sure that I predicted anything. I was just saying that we should, be
Oh,
wrapped
okay.
up
All
around
right.
4.
Okay, to be fair, it's 4:25.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh,
Well, we
John
are-
Beatty says getting pickup work inking over Bacello. Wow, I'd like to see that. John, have you inked him before?
Bacello, you mean?
Is that how you say his name? Bacello?
Bacello.
It's not Bacello?
You've got like one job, Gary, and you're just
It's-
horrible at it.
It's botulism.
Yeah. It's Bacello.
He's one of my favorite artists, actually.
I like his stuff too.
Dan, how do you say his name?
Bacello.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So is John saying he's doing some stuff for Bacello right now?
He says, quote, getting pickup work inking over Bacello.
Interesting.
He says he did one cover over Chris, some X-Men book cover.
He's got to be a fun guy to ink, I would think.
Yeah.
You know, you got to think that if John were to come on this show, it'd really help his chances of getting more work, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't have to take jobs over Scrubs if you come on Graybeard's.
I'm done.
All right, let me finish this hand, and then I haven't got all the line work done, but I got most of it.
Okay, Aaron, finish with your hand.
I will.
John says, Bacello, I'm still going to call him Bacello, asked me a few years back, then he emailed me to ink 3 pages, and Marvel didn't even have me on file.
Been that long.
So, John, are you saying you got blacklisted at Marvel? That's a news scoop.
I bet it's more like there's just nobody at the wheel there.
You know, every time I did work for Marvel, like months would pass, and I'd have to reapply as if I was a new artist. There's, oh, can I see your stuff? Do you have a website? Like I'm like, I just did some stuff for you like 2 months ago. It was a new person. I'm like, sheesh, it's insane.
No, John says they couldn't find him, and then they said they also wanted samples.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, that is such a pathetic commentary on the industry.
Yep.
That you've got people working there that don't even know some of the biggest names from just, 10, 15 years ago. Can you imagine?
That makes me feel bad then the last time I yelled at an editor, "Don't you know who I am?"
They're like, no.
Well, if they don't know who John Beatty is, then what chance do I have?
Can you imagine
saying that there should be a requirement to become an editor, and one of the requirements is that you have to have at least 10 to 20 long boxes of comic books, and they have to they can't be in the 2000s or in the late 90s.
Yep.
They have to be from the 80s, 70s and 60s.
Could you imagine being an editor in the 80s and Buscema calling you up for work and you're like, John who? Could you send me over some, know what I mean?
Send me some samples. Yeah.
Yeah, how are you not aware of not even that much of history? I mean, it's not like John Beatty was working 40 years ago.
Right. He says, last thing I inked was a Storm story over David in 2011. It was at night, so it was just a lot of blacks. I felt cheated.
There's just one black drawing it.
Hey. Don't talk about John that way.
You'd think they would have a binder of artists that they could flip through. Just everyone have the same hey, these are the people of the industry.
You would think they would be organized. Mickey's always thinking of the do re mi. She says, "What do they do with all the samples?" What she means is, how can I get all those samples
at a cheap price?
Yeah, that's like they're just lying around waiting for somebody to scoop them up.
Well, that used to be how it was, though, right? You go take a tour of the office, and they're just giving away here. Say the stacks of that stuff there. No more, though.
Nick Clark says a binder. It's not 1995, Dad. We have computers now.
I would think that it's much quicker still to have a binder you flip through.
Yeah, I still have binders.
Yeah, I have all my I Xerox like, or then once I got a computer, I would make scans of all my pencil pages, like for everything I've ever done, and they're all in binders.
Yeah, I've got a, golden binder. I've got a Alex Toth binder. What else? I have 3 Alex Toth binders.
Wow. All right. I got a couple more lines I got to put in here, and then I'm gonna.
Wait, I'm gonna stop.
Torch
I'm not
Bear
done, but
Studio.
I'll stop.
Torchbear Studio says Gary still has stone tablets. I don't know about the tablets part, but you got the stones right.
They're gallstones, but
Well, they're still in the stone family.
yeah.
Sleeping psychopath. He's laying down some computer knowledge that's too confusing for me to read.
Psychopathy.
But that's way too organized. There's just no way they would do that. They're all independent offices, and they all have like these little kingdoms that they're trying to protect. So there's no way they would be that organized. Like they're helping each other out. They wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but people just used to know. The editors used to know. Now they don't know anything. It's just remarkable.
Well, it's because they don't come from either a freelance or a fan place. They're just people they hire that can push papers.
I know, but then they act
Most
like
of the editors used to be either like super fans or actual freelancers.
Yeah, I guess there's no Carl Potts left running the show, is there?
Nope. So Dan, are you done?
I'm not done, but I'm stopping because Aaron always starts showing us stuff before I can get my camera back.
Oh, so you're ready.
So I'm just trying to get
all my
acclimated. Let's see if I can see my line work.
I love that hand.
It's not that bad actually. It's not as bad. If you look, if you just.
How do you like it, Dan?
Well, if you if you sort of step back about half a block, really good.
Squint your eyes.
Yeah.
That's
all
what
right.
I tell people when they're looking at my work.
Hang on. Some of the inking on his knuckles are a little looser than I would have normally done, but we're trying to get it done. So anyway, okay. This is pretty much done without this. I haven't put in the speed lines, but let's take a look.
Oh, cool, man.
I like it.
So as you can see, if you
looks...
get up in there close, that like
very delicate.
Some of those lines are pretty soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it really works. You guys make a good team.
Shut up.
Now you can see right here where I filled this in with that Sharpie.
Yeah.
But I mean, this would like scan completely black. There wouldn't be that gradation.
Yeah.
But you can see the different kind of lines I used there, like the looser, more Wrights-y lines, and then the more of the pulled Gary Martin type lines. But don't.
Yeah, kind of like a Danny Mickey kind of thing going on in some of those line widths.
Oh yeah, because I wanted to kind of, put a little angularity in there that you don't normally get.
Aaron, would you read John Beatty's comment?
Oh Lord, don't oversell it, Diddy. Oh,
no, before that. before that.
Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, blah. I like John. Like he's in his recliner at home. He's all comfortable. Doesn't have to face the music by being on the show. But
Yeah, I think John is like sitting back in his easy chair saying, I love when you Philistines talk about inking.
now I could have made this foot bolder, and I still might. But
I think you
anyway,
should.
there you go. That's I'll finish that up, get those background lines in there, and call it good. All right. Let's see what David got.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. It's funky, man. Funky Comatina.
I'm trying to. What did you use? You did also the pen, right?
I did it with the brush pen.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay.
It's not focusing great.
I'm trying.
It's so weird to see your drawings, like someone like put their thing to it. I mean, wait a minute.
What?
I did not put my thing to it. But what I did is inked it, but it didn't. Like I said, it's the ink just fell into the stuff. I barely even got to really. I didn't embellish anything.
Yeah, it looks like I like the leg and stuff. That's the way I would want to ink it. Yeah, if I could ink it. Yeah.
Freaka Boogie says good stuff.
Yeah, that looks great.
Apex, look at this. Apex Comics says foot looks great, Aaron. And then John Beatty says no need to do any more. So I think that may be an insult. I'm not sure, but that's how I'm taking it.
He's saying, for God's sakes, stop.
Stop. That's exactly what he's saying.
Hey, that's part of art. You got to know when to stop.
Yep.
Yep.
All righty. So, Dan, what have you got for us?
All right. Here is the.
You guys,
I haven't done the feet yet. That's what it comes down to.
Well,
But I
don't
did.
Show everything else. Look at them abs. They're like,
dude, that's got a sort of Wrightsony feel to it, don't you think, Gary?
Yeah.
That underlining
later.
line work?
You see
His
some of my
leg-
line
his-
work. When
This
you get
later,
when you get in on it, it ain't pretty, But
No,
Well,
but that's what you're doing, and it works
reads,
well with.
Yeah, it reads very well.
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what my inking is. I can draw, but I can't. My line work, my brush control just isn't there.
Glitch says Dan is zooming in on that nip. There it is.
Wow. That's what you were looking at? Okay.
Now John says no. It looks like Gary Gianni is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, it kind of does.
It's very. I don't know that I would be that liney, and so it's interesting to see that different.
Yeah, you gray tone all the potential.
Well, here's the thing: is I thought I would try the line work, and if I screwed it up, I make it black. Then
I use that method.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I screwed that up. Better black that in.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's not that bad.
No, it looks good.
Yeah, I like it.
I didn't completely destroy it or anything like that.
No.
yeah.
It was fun though. I mean, it's exciting to try to interpret this stuff.
Yeah, it is. That's the fun thing. We're getting to do something we'd really never get to do, or rarely.
I mean, sometimes like when you're inking on really good artwork, for me,
Excellent.
it makes me remember why I got into comics as an inker. And then again, there are times when you're inking on really crummy artwork, and all I can think of is, yeah.
Yeah.
Mickey says none of these pieces are interesting.
Coming from Mickey, that's a compliment.
Swine.
Little G
She's
doesn't
got
like
standards.
No,
Mickey's got standards,
It was a compliment.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Wait, how is that a compliment?
Yeah, I know. I was like, can you break that down for me?
Yes,
'Cause
please.
Okay, well, we've talked about this a long time ago. Mickey, correct me if I'm wrong. When someone describes your work as interesting,
Oh,
that's
that's
an
right.
insult.
Yes. Okay.
so
now-
she's playing 3D, 4D chess, or
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And we're just like scratching our heads. So none of
This
this
is
is
for the
I like
intellectual
that.
portion of the show.
Wow, Mickey. Yeah, I gotta give you give some props then. So
You
that
called
was
her a swine.
what was that?
I said you called her a swine.
Well, I take it back now.
Yeah, that's right.
No, little G did.
Little G knows.
Yeah, okay. This is what she's getting at right here.
Your drawing is interesting.
That's so she's playing off that. See, went
Yep.
over my head, went over my
Yep.
old man head. Nick Clark says that's some good tracing, guys. All righty. Hey, you guys, again, please hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. And also remember that all of us have like stuff that we would love your support. I have Wraith of God
please.
3, Fear
For
Hollow.
God's sake, buy our stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say. Wraith of God 3, Fear Hollow graphic novel. You'll find a link in the description of this video. David, of course, has Fearsome with EVS, and there's a link to that campaign. Dan Lawless is wonderful.
Hey, yeah,
YouTube
Aaron,
channel.
could you mention instead my website? Because actually, I'm putting original artwork now up for sale on the website. So,
You're supposed to
in
tell me
fact,
this
there's
before the
one
show.
drawing up. I think I did here, Storm, and that is up there now. You can check it out. Also, if the
What's
price
your
is a bit,
website? Is it danlawless.com?
danlawless.com. Yeah.
There you
If
go.
it's something's a little steep, you want to negotiate a price, feel free to, don't feel bad. Like, oh, can you get it for this? Maybe I will,
Mike
And,
Wilson Art is at saying auction, and I've seen a couple other people say that in the last couple episodes. We need to think about. I think we need to think about having another auction.
All right, we'll think about it. But any of these pieces, I'm sure, are for sale if you want to contact us before we get to any sort of auction. But and also Gary Martin's Brush with Destiny. If you want to pick up a copy of that book, there's a link in the description of this video. Take you right there. David,
Could you recap David's?
Yeah, let's do that
stupendous
real
art
quick.
deal here.
There you go, David. You got the screen.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at all this stuff that you could buy. Again, I'm selling this Truth, Justice, American Way art. There's about like 25 pieces in each stack. I'm selling them for $500 each. Or if you want to get all of it, I'll sell it to you for $1,000. And you'll be getting finished pen and ink work. You're getting finished pencil work. You're getting roughs. You're getting concept art. A lot of great stuff. Unfortunately, the book didn't come out, but the art still exists. So you could still have it, and art is art, regardless of if it sees print or not. And I think it would be nice if someone like any of you could, purchase it, and enjoy it and frame it, do what you
Yeah,
will.
it's just collecting dust now.
Yeah, and I have some of these things still available.
Torchbearer Studios wants to see that Batman cover again.
Oh,
Yeah,
this one?
Batman and
Oh,
Robin
okay.
one right there.
That is
There you
great.
go.
And then when
And this
your
comes
son
with a
doing the
color
color on
print.
it was like,
Yeah, there's going to be a color print that comes with it if you purchase this.
oh, it's so good.
I have the prices of some of these over on Comic Art Fans if you go over there and check them out. And yeah, that'll be it, And
It's a
thank
nice
you.
one, too.
And contact me on Instagram, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
There it is, folks. All right. I want to thank everybody. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you guys for participating in the show. We couldn't do it without you. We probably could do it without John Beatty, but since he was here, we'll thank
No, we
him for
cannot.
joining as well. And
Integral part of the show.
You guys, those of you in Washington, I'll be up at the Washington State SummerCon in Puyallup this week.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you there.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to
And,
go to the Garden State Comic Con, but actually, I'm just going to go for the after party at Graham's after party.
There
I'm
you go.
actually not going to go to the con because I'm visiting friends. But
That's right. If you're in New Jersey or in that area, man, go see the Garden State. A lot of guys going to be there. So, anyway, thanks everybody. We'll see you again next week right here.
Aaron, one more thing.
Yeah.
Corn dogs. Corn dogs. Corn dogs.